Hey guys, well, it's Thursday, JT back again, and these are going to be records in my collection, and I'm going to continue on with my American bands slash artists. So let me go ahead and get started with something right here. I got it coming. Oh, yes. And there's an American band right there for you. The Grand Funk Railroad. Yes, we're an American band. And, Sam St. John has a real nice channel, and he wanted us to show stickers. And yes, and we come into your town, and we're going to help you party it down. That's right, Grand Funk. Something else? I just scored yesterday. So happy about this. I was going to spring for a $45 repress of this record right here. That's Mark, Don, and Mel. 69 to 71. I paid $12 for this. Stoked. I played all four sides. Really cool record. Love the Grand Funk Railroad, Flint, Michigan, and something about them. You know, it all started, guys, with Terry Knight and the Pack. You've got Don Brewer and Mark Farner, who are in this band. You know, psych, bluesy rock band. So cool. I'm going to backtrack, and, if you don't see the records that you're thinking of, go ahead and comment, but these are records in my collection, and, I just cherry-picked them randomly from the record room and the living room, and I'm just going to get started where way back when, and that would be Louis Armstrong and his Hot Seven, and so much in New Orleans started with the great Louis Armstrong. Definitely. And next from Chester, PA, Chester, Pennsylvania, that would be Bill Haley and his Comets. Rock Around the Clock. And again, so much started in rock and roll with Bill Haley. This is a nice one to have. I paid a quarter for this, 50 cents, about 15 years ago. There's the songs. And, the Beatles and so many British bands owe so much to the great Chuck Berry, and this is the great 28. This is one of the better comps of Chuck Berry. I've had this for a long time. This record sounds great. And you got Maybelline, you got Too Much Monkey Business, Brown Eyed Handsome Man, Nadine, back in the USA, Little Queenie, the Stones love to do that one, Carol, Oh Carol, and Johnny B. Good. Chuck Berry and John Lennon and the boys love this artist, Little Richard, and this is a rare one on Specialty. Yeah. And yes, I found this at a thrift store. I know, it's crazy. And what can you say about this gentleman? And, Dion knows all about this. He was on tour the day the music died, when the plane went down. The great Buddy Holly. And I can't do this video without representing what Sam Phillips was doing at Sun Studios, Sun Records, and that would be Johnny Cash and his greatest. Nice album. There's some songs. And Odetta at Town Hall, gospel, folk, blues, country, wonderful artist, the great Odetta. I have a few of her albums. Important American artist, definitely. And the late, great Sam Cooke. And another shout out to Sam St. John. He turned me on to Seth Avit's videos on YouTube, where he does a lot of solo performances, just him and guitar, his wonderful voice. And he does a couple of great Sam Cooke covers. And so I highly recommend it, and recommend Sam St. John's YouTube channel, Vinyl Community. And here's the songs. And Mike at the In Groove loves this record. This is Louis Prima live at the Sahara Tahoe, and this is where I grew up as a kid in the 60s. And my dad worked at this hotel, and in Vegas, this gal here, Keely Smith, I used to ride my bike in the early 70s. Her home, beautiful home, was right behind the Sands Hotel, where Sammy Davis would appear. You know, the Rat Pack would go over there and party with Sammy on stage. But her home was right there on Sands Boulevard off of Paradise Road. This is a great record. Love Louis Prima. And the Dixie Cups, Iko Iko, Giacomo Finane. With the Dixie Cups, Chapel of Love. Great American record. And here's a pretty good, great American artist. That would be the King, Elvis Presley. And this is a very, very clean. I have two of these. This one's near mint. Wonderful to have. And this was my very first rock and roll show. I was picking vinyl yesterday at a thrift store, and a guy picked the Live at the International Hotel record, and I don't have that. And that was my very first rock and roll show. And he almost gave it to me. I says, no, I'll find it. And I will find that record. But that was my first rock show. James Burton on guitar, Elvis, amazing. We were there for the first night. My mom, dad, sister, front and center, down ringside in the center booth. Wonderful show. At the time, I was 12 going on 13, and I saw him 4 more times after that first night of his comeback. It was just an amazing time in Las Vegas in the summer of '69. So, yeah, Elvis. And I had to represent with the chairman of the board, and I saw this gentleman as well in 1977 at Caesar's Palace on the Strip in Las Vegas. And my dad called me, says, come on down to the hotel. We're going to go see Frank Sinatra this evening. And by then I was a seasoned veteran of showroom shows in Vegas. I just told my dad, I says, I'll be right on down. I drove my 73 blue Volkswagen van down to Caesar's Palace, jumped into the hotel. My dad was there, and we barely got in the show. It was sold out because there was rumor that Frank was going to wind down on his performances. Wonderful, wonderful performance that night at Caesar's Palace in Vegas. And you have Summer Wind on this album. Had to show some Dylan. Love this album, bringing it all back home. I'm going to do a video as well on country rock, American bands, artists. But I wanted to show some Dylan. And, you know, you have She Belongs to Me. It's All Right, Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, and It's All Over Now, Baby Blue. Definitely. Bob Dylan. And yes, Neil Young is Canadian, but, you know, he's been living in this country so long, and that's what we are. Americans are, you know, we're from all corners of the earth. Absolutely. Buffalo Springfield again. I love having this record. And fantastic. Yeah, Neil lives down, his ranch is right down the peninsula in the San Francisco Bay Area. I've driven by it before. And from Los Angeles, we have Love. And Maria McKee's brother is right, I'll show you. There he is. Brian McLean. That's her half-brother. And this, guys, this was 75 cents. This was a great score. I know this isn't my thrift store finds video, but that one was a great score. That's a gold label first press Love album on Elektra. And yes, Mr. Tambourine Man, great, great American band. And this gentleman here, Gene Clark, I had the pleasure of meeting his son, Kai, in 1993, shortly after his dad passed. And we formed a band together, and we played 8 years of music. Our band was called Merry Underground. And, you know, I had already loved the Byrds. We never covered any of his dad's song or any Byrds material, but I became even more inundated with the Byrds and everything the Byrds and Byrds related, you know, Hillman solo, Gene Clark, Roger McGuinn. Yeah, so wonderful experience for me. And what a great album. And, you know, I Feel a Whole Lot Better is just wonderful. But, you know, the other Gene Clark, Here Without You, is just stellar. You know, George Harrison especially took a listen and note of what Gene was writing for the Byrds early on. And I just scored this one yesterday. That would be Steve Miller Band. This is Sailor, and I never had this on vinyl. And this is fantastic. I paid $15 for this. And here's Boz Scaggs was in the band early on. I mean, this is psych blues rock. This is so cool. Let me show you the songs here. Yeah, so I'm going to show a little psych. I should just do a whole video on my psych albums, American Psych. And the family that plays together, that would be Spirit. You have Randy California, Jay Ferguson, and the boys for this great record. And from Long Island, New York, that would be the Fudge, Vanilla Fudge. And wow, this is just so great. I mean, You Keep Me Hanging On. Keep moving here. And from Acoustic Sounds, I scored this about 5 months ago. And yes, I finally got Pet Sounds. And from Torrance, California, the Wilson brothers, Mike Love, Al Jardine, fantastic. Now I've amassed a lot of Beach Boys records since I've been in the vinyl community. A lot more, that is. There's the great songs. And this just sounds just perfect. Really great. And CCR from El Cerrito, California. That's just north of Berkeley, California. They went to El Cerrito High School. And I got to know one of the members at North Lake Tahoe because he was interested, this guy right here, that guy was interested to see what Gene's son, Kai, all of his original songs, and we'd play songs for him. And in between, Stu Cook, that is, would tell us stories of his experiences in music, which was amazing. And then Stu would say, all right, guys, play another song. We would. And then Stu would tell another story. His stories were just amazing. That first day was really great. And then he came to see our band as well down in Reno. It was called the Beer Barrel, right next to the University of Nevada, Reno. And another great artist, Bobby Gentry, Ode to Billy Joe. What a wonderful American artist. From Chickasaw County, Mississippi, and Carlos Santana, you know, born in Jalisco, Mexico, and cut his teeth playing guitar in bands in Tijuana, Baja California, Mexico. Really, and moved on up to San Francisco. He's been there so long. He's just as American as any of us. And what a great record. Greg Raleigh, Mike Shrive, the drummer, phenomenal. You know, the performance at Woodstock with Michael Shrive with that drum solo. He grew up down the peninsula near Millbrae, Burlingame, San Mateo, down that way. Wonderful band in Santana. And then we have the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. This is from 1970. And here she does Call Me, and her version of The Weight is just killer. This Girl's in Love with You, Burt Baccarat, Hal David, son of a preacher man. The Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. And I had to show some feet. That would be Little Feat, Lowell George, Bill Payne, Paul Barrar, wonderful. And if you don't know Little Feat, you got to check it out. This is just a great live album. You know, I had this on cassette and wore out 2 different copies of it in my car, driving around, you know, getting hearing damage from this record in my car. I always had great sound systems in my cars. And yes, the Grateful Dead, Working Man's Dead, Casey Jones, Uncle John's Band, and The Easy Wind is so cool on here, sung by Pigpen, Rod McKernan, the great late Rod McKernan. Fantastic. All right. Now, just yesterday, I had a copy of this years ago. This would be Eat a Peach, Allman Brothers. Great, great American band from Georgia, Macon, Georgia. And, you know, how amazing that they pulled together and put out this wonderful record, Eat a Peach, after Brother Dwayne passed away. And this, you know, for me, this is equal to Fillmore East, and, you know, that great Brothers and Sisters record, too. That trio of records is just so great. And you got to be proud if you're from Michigan for this gentleman, Bob Seger and his Silver Bullet Band. And this is 9 Tonight. And my very first time I ever played on stage, there was a great band that used to come from Central Valley, California to Lake Tahoe. And they got me up on stage. I threw his ES 335 red guitar around my shoulders. And he says, what are we going to play? I says, I don't know. He goes, do you know old time rock and roll? I go, yeah, I know it. I go, let's play it in C. He goes, let's go. And that was, it was so much fun. And then he says, what else? I go, how about Stormy Monday Blues? So I played those two songs, got off stage. I felt electric. It was wonderful. And from then on, I played in two more bands after that, two good bands. And from Pasadena, California, that'd be Van Halen. Pretty good American band, I'd say. There you go. And last one, guys, I had to represent with these boys from Downey, California. So American, rock and roll, rockabilly, everything. And that would be the brothers Alvin, Dave and Phil, the Blasters. Just picked this up yesterday. It's sealed. It was $15. And this is called Over There. And this is live at the venue in London. Really cool. I'm getting some Blasters records together. And hey, that's about it. I'm going to do some more videos on Thursday for American bands and artists. Thanks for watching. We'll see you. Thanks.